Hello everybody and welcome to Scrapbook and Cards Today. I'm Allison Cope and today we're going to talk about masking. What is masking, you say? Well, basically it's taking an image and creating something that blocks the image and allows you to color or add ink all around that image without actually adding ink or color to whatever you're covering. So today I'm going to talk about some of the products that you can find both in your scrapbook stores, your hardware stores, and even your dollar stores. So let's get into a few here. Some of my favorites. When I first started stamping, good old Post-it notes. They can be your friend. Now these ones are a little bit special. They're actually sticky from here to here. So the whole backing is sticky except for one lip. So these are great ways to make really cheap masks, and you can buy these at the dollar store. Another great tool that you can find almost anywhere is painter's tape. And of course it comes in many different diameters, and you can use this to create stripes or anything like that, or even just holding a mask down. So this is always a neat product and an easy product to get your hands on. Yeah, good old painter's tape. Masking tape will do if you stick it to your pants or your sweater a few times. It's absolutely usable as well. All right, we'll set that one aside. This is Stamping Mask Paper by Inkadinkadoo, and it comes in sheets like this. One side is colored and one side is white. And what you do is you stamp your image on one side, and then you fussy cut out the image, and you can peel off the backer and it becomes a sticker. So next we have masking fluid. And these are both examples here of how you might find a masking fluid. Traditionally, you find it in a bottle. You have to give it a good mix up. And what you're going to do, this one doesn't come with a particular brush option, but I know some of them do. And basically it is just a colored liquid that you apply to whatever your image is. And I'll be showing this a little bit more in the future. And I just use a little paintbrush and just make sure I clean it off after every use. And you also want to make sure that you wipe around the lid and everything before you close this, because you can actually seal it closed where you'll never open it again. So fluid masks, they need to be applied and then they must dry. What they're going to do is, if you've ever applied white glue to a surface, you can basically just rub it and it peels off. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. This one is also another form of masking fluid. And this one particularly comes in a pump marker. So for this one, you have a nib, just like a large felt tipped marker, and you can get into the fine details. You could actually write with this one or put in fine detail to create a mask. And once again, this is a masking fluid, so you must allow it to dry adequately. Do not use your heat gun for this drying process, because you will actually make it bubble and it won't do its job. So another product on the market is actually by Xyron, and they have sticker makers that actually take cartridges for repositionable adhesive. So if you look in here, it says repositionable. Let's see if we can tuck our camera in there. And basically you put whatever your item is. So say for instance, you cut out a mushroom from a stamp set. So you stick your fussy cut mushroom through and you crank it through, and it comes out the other side, the back side here. And what happens is it applies adhesive to the back of your particular fussy cut image. And because it's repositionable, it's very easily pulled up and off the paper again. So you can use this tool as well It's like making yourself personal post-it notes. So if you're looking for another toy, this is another great way to make masks, is your Xyron sticker creator. Let's use some of our products and make a card. So to begin our card today, we're going to make a single layer card, which means we're not going to have any dimension, or there won't be multiple layers. We're going to start with a single layer of cardstock, and we're going to stick with a single layer. So I'm going to use this super duper cute stamp set from My Favorite Things. It's called Farmtastic, and it's got some cute little critters. And I think we're going to use the line, "You're still a spring chicken." So I have pulled our lovely little chicken image here. And we're going to start by using our Inkadinkadoo stamping mask paper. So I pulled out a piece of that. For this particular product, you want to stamp on the non-colored side. So this is the sticker backer that you pull off. And it's a paper side. So you can feel the texture's difference. This side is sort of textured, and this side is definitely more plasticky and smooth feeling. So you want to stamp on the paper side. Since I'm going to use Copics today, I'm going to pull my Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and we're going to stamp our little chicken fella onto our paper, and then I'm going to go and fussy cut him out. The trick to creating a great mask is to actually go in and cut just a little bit farther in on that outside line. So if you look on the paper here, I've got black ink on the outside, which means I'm cutting into that line, and that's exactly what you want. What happens is, when I actually stamp this little chicken fella on our card, and if I were to cut too far outside of that line, you get kind of a halo effect around whatever you have fussy cut. So if you take the time, and see, I'm actually moving my image and not my scissors. Take the time and cut slightly inside your outside lines. You're going to create a much better and more effective mask. Now, when you're deciding on what kind of masking product to use, whether it be a post-it note, masking fluid, or creating your own mask, you want to think about what kind of medium or what kind of ink you're going to use to color in around that mask. It makes a difference. So for instance, if you were going to add a watercolored background to your card, you're going to maybe prefer the masking fluid over a paper mask, because once your paper mask is wet, how effective is that really going to be? Now, this chicken has some very detailed feet. Now, I'm going to take the risk and not cut out his feet, because he has sticks for legs. That's really hard to create a mask out of. So that's where we can get in with our detailed masking fluid and create masks specifically for his feet. Now, I've cut off his tail just because it's going to be finicky. There's not much lineage there between his bum and the tail, so now we have a chicken nonetheless in two parts. All right, let's bring in our single piece of white cardstock. This is just Nina Solar White cardstock, and we are going to stamp our chicken. Now, the reason why you start with your chicken in this manner is because the chicken is in the foreground or front of everything else that's behind it. So you're going to see the chicken first. So that's why whatever's in the foreground and whatever you see first when you're looking at a scene, that's what you're going to stamp first. So therefore, there's our chicken, and I'm going to peel the backers. Make sure you press all the edges down so they're nice and flat, otherwise you can get ink underneath. So our chicken is in the foreground, and because we still have his feet to do, I'm going to take our Molotow masking liquid pen, and I'm just going to paint over top those feet areas. I am going to let this dry now because it needs to be dry. If I were to stamp something over top of it, I'm going to get masking fluid all over everything, and it's not going to do its job. It's not going to mask. It needs to be nice and dry, and thankfully, this doesn't take really all that long to dry. But don't use your heat tool. I don't recommend it. Let it air dry, okay? Just set this aside, and we'll be right back when it's dry. While we wait for our chicken feet to dry, I'm going to stamp on a few elements that aren't going to touch that area so we can get those all stamped out as well. Because I am going to do some more background detail, we need masks for both the tractor and the bird. Now, if you think about a tractor has windows, and these windows are going to be see-through. So you're going to be able to see the background through the window. So when creating my mask, I'm going to make sure that my mask has nothing inside that window, which means it's going to be cut out as well. So I'll come back after I cut those masks. Alright, so I have fussy cut out both of our masks, and I chose to use just good old post-it notes. So I'm going to apply both of those masks over top my stamped image. And just like the chicken's feet, I did the same with the little birdie's feet. So I really don't want our chicken to be in mid-air, so we're going to give him something to stand on, and I'm going to stamp this little fence piece right here. So let's ink her up and give this fella something to stand on here. Now remember, his feet are masked, so we can literally place our stamp right over top his feet, and we're going to stamp on our cute little fence. This time, because we're not going to have all that much overlap, let's use some of our frog tape or our painter's tape. Now I do find this particular brand to be a little bit sticky, so either stick it to the back of your hand a few times like such, stick it to your pants. It's always a good way to kind of remove a little bit of the stickiness. And we're going to have overlap where these two posts kind of end. Because what we want to do is make it look cohesive as part of the fence. The nice thing about this particular tape is you can see through it. So you can make sure that that fence extension actually matches up. Sometimes you have to finagle things. And with the stickiness taken off the back of that piece of tape, it comes off really, really easily. So super cute so far. We've got quite a few layers. Now let's work on the sky, because we want to create a farm scene. So we need a sky, we need some kind of field or grass. We don't want our tractor driving in midair. So let's fix our background. I am going to go and make a mask for our fence, but before we do that, let's make a mask for our ground. This is where just good old piece of scrap paper, just even from your copier, you just give it a tear, and it gives you a nice kind of rough edge, which is more characteristic of ground. Ground is not flat or straight all the time. So what we can do here is we're going to use this as a mask as well. Now, you can stick this down in one of two ways. You can either take some washi tape or regular tape and tape the ends down, or to make it a little bit firmer, okay, you can flip it over in my case, and we know this area is the area we want to use for our mask. Just apply some regular adhesive take that adhesive to your pants again. You're going to try and remove a lot of the tackiness. Add some fuzz from your pants or your shirt to remove that stickiness. And now you have good old copy paper that is now become a mask. Of course, sans the cat hair. And so you can make regular old paper a mask. So let me go and cut out a mask for our fence, and I'll be right back. There we go. So let's work on a background here. I think I'm going to use my Copics and my Copic airbrush system. So I'm going to go and find some blue tones to create some sky, and I'll be right back. So I decided instead of a traditional blue sky, let's make it a sunrise. I mean, that's when we hear those cock-a-doodle-doos. So I've basically just taken our lovely, almost full sticky-sided Post-it note, and I cut out a circle, and I'm going to use both. But I'm going to start by masking the sun off, and we're going to put the sun... Once again, another way to do masks. Don't forget to use your dies if you want a particular shape, like a diamond or a square or a circle or a cloud shape even, to use as a mask. Okay, another way to create masks. All right, let's get our colors going here. All right, so I have put my Y04 sketch marker into my air grip, and I'm just going to test it off on a scrap piece of paper. Good, we have lots of color coming in. So I want our skyline to radiate out, become light and darker as it kind of goes out. So I'm going to start by just making sure that my masks are all firmly placed down and flat, because otherwise color will get underneath. And we're going to start by just encircling that sun with color. So of course, all of that color is going through the fence lines and underneath his bum and through his legs and around the tractor. And that's where all that hard work of creating those masks pays big time. Because ultimately, it's going to give you that true effect of dimension in your scene. I don't want it too bright, so I think we're going to leave it at that. And this is where the fun comes in. You can kind of peel back everything. We'll start with our sun, because we're going to actually go in and use the negative of that shape. Just trying to find the right spot. And now we've got to add color for the sun. Now it's very harsh, so I think what I will do, we'll go in and just soften the sun line just a bit before we remove our masks. Our next step, I think we're going to do our ground. So I'm going to peel. Now, sadly, I have torn apart my actual mask here, but that's okay, we can fix this. This is why you always keep the reverse of your masks, at least for your background. So I think we're going to do a little bit of green in the background, and then we're going to do like a hue of dirt color. Okay. And let's reveal our details as we carefully remove our masks. Last but not least, our last paper one is our little bird. Look at the scene coming together. Now, of course, we got to remove our feet. So you can literally just take your finger and the masking fluid just rubs right off. How cool is that? So that's it for my masking tutorial today. I'm going to go in and color in some grass and color in my equipment and my birdies, my fence line, and add a few more details maybe into the soil. But as far as using masks, I hope you've enjoyed my tutorial today, and I hope you like my end result. Have a great day, and the next time you go to create a card, think about all the different ways that you can mask. Thanks for joining me today.
And moments after I finished up my tutorial, I made a mistake with my Copic markers and I have some extra bluebies. So I remasked my fence and chicken and darkened up my sun and covered up the lower bluebie with some more green and brown Copics. And I fixed it all up, and here's my final card.